Alrighty, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yay! Anne Marie, you look very rigid.
That's a very pretty picture of her.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Professional.
You look very rigid though. I have to hold very still to do that.
Yeah.
My smile does not look as nice either. What a beautiful sunshiny day, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going on a bike ride right after this.
No, good for you. Oh, I was going to print something. Forgive me 1 second. I need to look something up here. There we go. Morgan is going to be here by telephone. So Morgan, you must be there because you opened the meeting.
I am here. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Now we lost Anne Marie.
Like she's coming back. Hopefully it works for her this time.
There she is. Why, she's trying to get her
Still
camera to
not
work?
seeing her audio or video.
Bummer.
And we need 5 to be able to hold the meeting. So we'll give it a few more minutes and hopefully some other people pop on.
Okay. So the 3 of us count as 3?
Yes.
I'm counted, right? So, okay.
Correct. Yeah, but since we can't see or hear Anne Marie, she, at this point, does not count.
Right. Yep. Well, in an emergency, she might dial in.
Yeah.
But let's see if we get a 5th. If we don't get a 5th, that'd be a waste of time.
Alderman Whitmire, did you talk to anybody or hear of anybody who said they weren't going to be able to make it today? I did not.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Well, the birds certainly enjoy the weather. I think I was looking out in my backyard. There were birds flying all over the place a couple minutes ago. I don't know what they think's going on. They get kind of confused when it warms up. And then yesterday I was driving down the highway. I had a hawk going after a mouse or something, I guess, in the, in the whatever next to the highway. And he was not even paying attention to me. I had to actually veer out of his way to keep from hitting him as he was flying down across in front of the car. Goofball. Now I understand why they end up on the side of the road sometimes. I always wondered how that happened. It's like, well, he would have flown right into me if I hadn't moved the car. So have you guys noticed how many more large birds are just kind of in Missouri now than used to be? You noticed a change? Number of hawks and falcons?
Not really.
No? How about you, Linda? What did you say, Linda? I'm sorry.
Oh, I said I have owls and hawks in my backyard.
Yep. Did you before?
Oh, yeah. We've always had them.
Yep.
Yeah, because there are always mice and rabbits and all sorts of little animals. So, yeah.
Linda H., you haven't noticed a difference?
We actually have less because there's a new subdivision behind our house that used to be a big open field. So we used to have, when we moved in, there were Thanksgiving morning, there were 12 turkeys in our backyard.
Ooh, dinner.
Yeah, didn't get one, but and we still have one owl or two, but and we lost a few big trees in a storm, so it's not quite as many.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It just strikes me that there are more than there were. You know, DDT had an effect on larger birds that their shells would be weakened and they couldn't reproduce. It seems to me that there are just more, but who knows? We have an owl that lives back behind our house as well. There's an open lot next to my house, which is just wooded, which is delightful.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I fear that someday somebody's going to build on it, but
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said that out loud in a public forum.
What's the address? No.
Yeah, no, not going there. But yeah, he hangs out in there, and the falcons and hawks are always flying around and screaming.
Yeah, I noticed little birds chasing the hawks.
Oh, really?
Bold of them, yeah.
Yeah, I went to an event where this guy had a hawk, and he was talking about. He said, you know, that their theory is that the hawk just doesn't want to waste the energy messing with those birds. That they just like to ignore them. You know, it's like it's easier for them to just fly away than to deal with those little birds. So that's what they do. That's what he claimed anyway. And he was that was his occupation. It wasn't just some guy that had a bird. That's what he did.
Not enough meat on their bones.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, there's Sandra.
Yeah.
Anne Marie, can you speak?
Oh, son.
Oh, there is no Anne Marie.
Good
That's
I
morning.
don't see it on. Yeah.
Hey, Sandra.
Alderman Whitmire, I'll leave it up to you on kind of how much longer you want to wait. But like I said, we do 5 to host our meeting, so I will.
Yeah, let's give it a couple more minutes.
Okay.
I had to go find the passcode.
I hear you.
I thought Anne Marie was here a minute ago.
Yeah, she was. She's trying to make the technology work.
So they approved chickens in the backyards?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
No controversy there. Mm-mm.
Change.
So every one of them, it's 2 acres or more. Every one of them reviews a conditional use, requires a conditional use permit. So everyone will be reviewed and approved individually. It will be interesting to see how many people actually apply.
How many people have more than 2 acres in Town and Country?
I think Bob said it's like 5% of the population or something. I could go look that up. I'll look it up after we're done and send you a note, but I think it's 5%, 1 out of 20.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently some people have chickens grandfathered in. So there are already chickens in Town and Country.
Yeah.
Huh.
So this provides a way for us to make sure they're well taken care of. Do any of you guys live on a lot big enough to have chickens? Do you have a 2-acre lot?
I do.
Oh, Sandra does.
Oh, you do?
So we're going to see your application for a chicken coop, Sandra?
No.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that.
I have a pool. I'm tired of that, and and I don't need anything else to do. You know, after a certain time in your life, you can't do all that stuff. Gardening. I used to have garden. Had all the watermelons and cantaloupes. Don't do that
nice.
anymore. Got 50-foot, 30 and 50-foot trees. It's too much.
So when I moved here, we left a pool behind, and my pool is now a water fountain about that big around. It's perfect.
Yes, yes.
When I shut it down for the winter, I blow the water out of it with my blower and cover it with plastic, and I'm done.
Well, my husband, the kids are gone, and the grandkids live in another state, and the husband swims at the Y. So
So he doesn't use
Yep.
the pool in the winter, I mean, the summertime?
not anymore,
Oh,
because then I have to sit out there with him.
Oh,
Well, you'll have to give us your address then, because we'll come over and go swimming. Because you're taking care of the pool.
It's too much. Had a heater, turn that heater off, so the water would be heated, but I
Yep.
turned that off.
Boy, that can really get expensive.
oh, I know.
Mhm.
Gas
Oh, yeah.
months are expensive, yeah.
Yeah,
Boy, oh boy.
electric bill was really big.
My old neighbor used to leave theirs open all winter long. I
Where
don't
they
know how
live?
much that cost. Pardon
Here in Missouri?
me? Yeah, yeah, I'm not in
Really?
Phoenix.
My
Yeah.
Florida friends have their pools. In fact, some of them have their pools in their houses.
Yeah.
But to leave it on all winter, this is, no, in Missouri, wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, even if you turned it all the way down, I mean, just so that it isn't freezing.
Yeah.
But if it's 34 degrees in the pool and 5 degrees outside, oh my gosh, that's like leaving the door open on the house.
And if you have it heated, that steam comes off that heat, comes off
Yeah.
that pool, and it's all fogs up the whole area down there.
Yep, it's very cool looking though. I'm just glad I didn't have to pay for it. The new owner of the house covered it last week, so that's not happening anymore. Well, I think we're out of gas here, ladies. What do you think? It's
I think
13
so,
after.
Yeah.
It's pretty late.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So Morgan, we can't really hold any meeting, right? We can't do anything legally.
Can't.
That is correct.
Well, actually, we
yeah,
could talk, but it's not an official meeting, I guess. But
You can't
that's,
vote.
that's without
Yeah.
a quorum, no votes can be taken, so no business can really be done. I will be happy to send out an email to the rest of the group and see if there's another day, either this week or next week, that would work. I do know, Alderman Whitmire, that you had something that you wanted to discuss with them, so I'll query the commission and see if we can get something together. It looks like Anne Marie is trying to get back in. Let's see if
okay, well, let's just,
Oh.
there she is again.
Woo!
Yay.
okay.
Yay!
Now let's see if we can hear her.
She's
Oh,
got to unmute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? This is what happens when you don't log off every day from your computer. The updates don't sync with the current software.
Well, welcome, and thank you for your tenacity. We appreciate it. And we like the moving Anne Marie more than we like the static Anne Marie. Okay, Morgan.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we are good to go.
So we're ready to call this meeting to order?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, so welcome to the November 16th meeting of the Town and Country Conservation Commission, and this meeting is hereby called to order. Morgan, would you mind calling the roll?
Sure. Ms. Mayuga,
Yes.
Ms. Murdoch,
Here.
Ms. Robson, and Ms. Holtgren.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Alderman Whitmire, the floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you very much. So the meeting minutes from the last meeting were published in advance of this meeting by Ms. Hupford. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'm reading the minutes and I move that we approve the minutes as read with any corrections.
Thank you, Sandra, and is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion regarding the minutes? Any changes required? No changes? Okay. There being no objection, we'll accept the minutes as stated then. So today we have a few things on the agenda. Let me pull out that piece of paper. Actually, 4 things. The first one is the TerraCycling updates and charity selection. Maybe we could just talk a little bit about if folks have had some activity in terms of reaching out to people and so forth. Anne Marie, you last time we met, you indicated that CBC had not replied and you weren't sure it was a good fit. Are we going to take them off the list at this point?
You know, I believe so because I actually have a CBC board meeting this afternoon, but I think at this point, after following up with their director of maintenance and the principal, and I haven't heard a response, that it may just be an effort that we don't want to pursue at this point. And then also with Priory and St. Anselm, I've not heard responses back from them.
Okay.
Could you, excuse me, could you ask them, Anne Marie, about if they would recycle Bic pins?
Sure, BICK, okay. I didn't realize, and I know that, again, I need to do my homework and go back and see what other opportunities are available for maybe.
Go on TerraCycling. They have Bic pins, because I was trying to find things that schools would use. And I figured every school has, you know, kids use, the teachers, the, you know, administrative people use the Bic pins. So that would be an easy little gallon container, I think, that you could just throw the pins in.
That's a fantastic suggestion. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Linda. I'll follow up with them regarding that. Thank you.
Okay.
So when you say them, are you referring to CBC?
What I'll do, Alderman, is I will go ahead and still follow up with the 3 that I volunteered, CBC, Priory, and St. Anselm. Because in many respects, I think St. Anselm would, you know, any church, people are always looking for a place to either throw away a pen or when they're writing checks to the, you know, the
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's too bad they didn't give out Bic pens at the election, huh? Then we could have gotten a lot of pens there. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Anne Marie, appreciate it. And Linda Holtgren, you were going to, well, I guess Trinity has agreed they're going to start in January, right? In Westminster, you said you sent a letter and some links.
Yeah, I tried them several times and they never answered back. So I left voice messages and emails. We could try again after the COVID, maybe. They're probably really busy trying to figure that out. Yeah. But Trinity Preschool was very interested. And they're willing to start in January if we could get up by then. And they wanted to know if they could send in other baby food besides Gerber containers. And actually, I looked on the website for TerraCycle, and they will take other baby food containers. So that was cool.
Gerber will take other baby food containers or somebody else? Pardon me?
The Gerber program will accept other baby food containers.
Oh, well, good. Okay.
And I also sent her 2 pictures of different containers just to get an idea of what she would like, what they would like. And she liked, there was a 13-gallon, just a garbage can with a swing top at Target. And it's about 27 inches high. And she liked that because the plan was the kids would put the recyclables in the container because the parents can't come in the school.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But there's also like smaller containers you could put on the tabletop. But the one I found at Target is $10. So I don't know what our budget is or if we have a budget.
That's a good question. I think we'll boldly say that we can cover the $10, even if it's through a aldermanic donation.
Yeah, I'll donate it for because Raintree said that they would be happy to have a bin and also collect for the baby food and for the Bic pins.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm taking some notes here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, great. And Ms. Gerber, was there anyone that you were going to be calling? I can't recall. Hera or
Nobody-
Sandra?
Not here.
Oh, she's not here. I'm
Kara's
sorry.
not. I want to let you know really quick, the record will reflect that Ms. Blake did enter the meeting at 12:20.
Hello, Ms. Blake.
She's got to take her mute off though.
Yeah, eventually. Sandra, was there anyone you were supposed to be
No,
calling?
I have 2 schools, 3 really, but I haven't pushed it because they haven't responded. So I didn't force it or talk, reconnect, let me say.
Okay, that's fine.
So there's one's a deaf school right around the corner, then the other one is I forgot the name of it, and then there's Mason Ridge. So I guess it's COVID and they're not really dealing with me, they're dealing with trying to deal with stuff. So
Yeah, our timing could be better. Do you think the other one was Destiny or somebody else?
I think around January I can get in touch with, because I think they may be trying to come back and do normal things. I'm not sure.
Do you remember who the third school was? Do you think it was Destiny or somebody else?
Is it on the outer road by the,
Right there around the corner from me. I'm trying to,
Yeah, that's Destiny, isn't it?
it's right around the corner too.
Right next to the athletic club?
Oh no, that's further down. It's right next to the school for the deaf.
Oh,
Is it
okay.
called Churchill?
Churchill. That's it, Churchill.
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 Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
And they're in session. I see the cars.
I do too, yeah.
I see the cars.
Okay. And Susan, a while back, you had signed up for Churchill as well. Did you also reach out to them? Sue Blake?
No, I don't think
Okay.
I was Churchill. I think I was, I initially might have said Priory and then someone else said they were going to handle it.
Right. Okay.
No, Churchill wasn't mine.
Okay.
If it was, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yep, no problem. Well, maybe one thing I could take away would be to review the list of schools in Town and Country and see if there are some others that we might want to reach out to, and I'll ask some of you if you would be willing to do that. I'll get that out to you in an email. If that's okay.
I don't mind contacting Churchill, so Sandra doesn't have to have so many.
And Linda, you had a letter that you sent that was good.
I just had, what I said to them, my talking points.
Yeah, that was a good introduction.
Sandra, would you like Linda to take over Churchill for you and follow up with them or not?
Oh, she can if she wants to.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You
I
want to
can
do that? Okay.
So if you need anything with that, Linda, I'm right around the corner.
Okay,
Are you close?
Yeah, I just live in Williamsburg Estates. So
Okay. So if you need me to do anything.
So we talked a little bit about a bin. Has anybody spent any time thinking about how we're going to label it, mark it, and so forth?
Linda Hoprin did.
Well, the Gerber TerraCycle website has a thing you can print out that I thought we could just tape on it somehow, laminate it maybe.
Yeah.
And then we thought about saying no trash or something.
And I actually did look for those bins that I had talked about on our last call, where they're the large Rubbermaid with the hole cut out in the center, the kind that you used to see at Sam's and Costco on sample day or whatever. And I have not been able to locate those from Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, commercial trash collection. I even talked to the waste management guy last week to see if they may know, and I couldn't find anything. So, but I thought that would be a cleaner solution just because people could just toss things in there directly without having to touch a door. But I'm up to no avail in being able to find those.
So are you talking about those things that have a rounded top and then they have a circle in the middle? It's usually chrome or something.
Well, it's cut out. And
Yeah, it's a hole. Yeah, it's about
right.
that big around, something like that.
But the plastic is such where it's beveled, so no one would hurt their hand
Yeah,
where the plastic is torn. That's
interesting.
maybe, maybe I'll just talk to somebody at Costco. Of course, they don't give out samples right now, which is the day I always avoided Costco and Sam's.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
for
I'll
now,
continue to look.
pardon me? Well, for now, I guess I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, we don't necessarily have to use the same one everywhere. We could try a couple of different things and see what works. So maybe Linda Holgren, you buy one of those ones that you saw and get it ready for Trinity, and we see how that works. And at the same time, we go try and find this one that has a hole that just, it's like a receptacle that you put things into, see if we can source that somewhere. Back to the labeling, that could get pretty messy pretty quickly with stuff and kids and hands and all that stuff. Just wondering, is anybody aware of, something that you could, I'm just visualizing, I know this restaurant I go to, they have a menu card or something under some kind of clear sticker that they've now stuck to their tables. I'm just wondering where you could get something like that would kind of cover the whole surface and you wouldn't have an issue with, there's Ms. Gerber. Welcome, Hera. You're on mute as well.
Alderman, are you just asking about a laminated sign that we could
just something, I guess we've got this label that Linda was talking about that we can probably print off from TerraCycling that probably has their logo or something, some kind of program titling, but we need to cover that, I would think, in entirety somehow to keep it from getting soiled and so forth. Because it's not going to be there for like a week, it'll be there for months, right?
Right.
So you can laminate it. Doesn't cost that much
Yeah.
Well, you can laminate it, but then it's kind of hanging, right? It's not stuck
but then
to
you still got to attach it somehow.
Then you got to attach it. What I'm trying to think, is there a way, some kind of stuff that you could use to, I don't know, just
paint it.
Put it over the top of the whole thing. I mean, it could be plastic or, some kind of film might be best, but you need something to both cover the surface and then also attach it to the can. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah, it does, because people don't necessarily read below the lid.
Right.
Read below the lid.
Well, yeah. When it comes to recycling, if it were placed on the container itself, it may just miss the view of some people not reading the instructions.
Yes, you need it on the top where you put in the trash or put in the recycle stuff, and then also on the side. Otherwise, you will get trash in there.
Right.
You probably will anyway.
I'm a former janitor. Trust me. Anything that's got a place for people to put stuff, they will put stuff, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
And you will have to go through it, make sure it's the appropriate things. People will probably try to recycle the wrong things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know someone who does that at the botanical garden, and she said she has to spend some time going through everything. And these are all adults.
Yeah.
Well, Linda Holtgren, can you kind of figure out how big this label, how big these labels probably should be, given the receptacle you're talking about buying, and come back to us with how large the dimensions you're thinking they should be and what should likely be said on there, in addition to the TerraCycling logo and instructions and so forth.
Okay, yeah, I'll work on that.
And
I'll
then
get one of those trash cans and play around with labels.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. maybe mock something up or whatever and take a photograph and send it to us or something.
That'd be good.
Okay.
And Morgan, can you record the fact that we're asking Linda to do this?
In case I forget.
Well, I'll forget everything. That's why I keep taking notes, but I'm trying, that's an important one, especially. What else do we need to talk about on TerraCycling? Oh, charity selection. Anything else besides the charity selection?
What do you mean by charity selection?
So since there isn't anything else, what we had talked about was, so this, depending on, this program does generate revenue. It will be probably a very small amount of revenue. But we had talked, somebody had suggested we give it to a charity. I think in the letter that I had given to you folks, I had indicated that we would just use it for conservation things. So we kind of put it back on our till, so to speak. So that's another option. We could use it just to defray the expenses of the collection devices and whatever
Yeah,
materials. we
That's an
consume.
idea to do that.
Actually, if you read the website, I think it can only be for charity.
Oh,
Well, we're kind of a charity, aren't we?
I don't know.
No.
We're nonprofit.
I don't think we count. So
Well,
we have to
I
pick
mean,
a,
maybe we're if
An
we're not,
environmental charity. It's find an environmental charity.
do,
I mean,
do they have a
they have-
list of charities that we can select from?
if you go to their website and you so you get points and then you redeem your points for a charity, and they have their own charities you can pick from. And I think you can pick your own charity too, like Circle of Concern or something like that. But they have environmental ones. They have World Wildlife Fund.
So could,
So
would somebody be willing to take a look through that list on the TerraCycling site and come back with, 2 or 3 recommendations as to what we might be able to do, and we'll just pick one of those? Would somebody
I'll
be
do that.
willing to do that? Sandra, you'll do that?
Yes.
Okay,
I have
great.
a question. If we are allowed to take whatever money is generated, is there an existing organization within the community of Town and Country that is a not-for-profit, such as Longview Farmhouse, or something where we could put the money, maybe not back into the Conservation Committee, but back into a community group that would still be within our purview of relations?
Well, one option there would be the Town and Country Historical Society.
Okay, maybe we could buy the bulbs for, and have a pollinator garden. I mean, that's just an idea, but
yeah, that's a great idea.
if we're
Mhm.
allowed,
Yeah.
again, if we're allowed within the confines or the parameters of what.
Mm-hmm.
Any other ideas like that?
Yeah, I like that idea, or just using the money to try to eradicate honeysuckle, do something that's going to beautify the parks or whatever. Just anything that
But-
can come back and help with the.
Yeah, we just need a vehicle to be able to do that through, though.
And a
Yeah.
lot of Tourdon. I was doing that this weekend, Linda.
Yeah.
And a lot of what did you say?
Tourdon, Tourdon. Only pour it with a mask, and it's like the highest grade that you could actually buy without being a licensed botanist or a licensed landscaper.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll send you a picture of it offline.
Okay, that'd be great. So entertain a motion to name the Town and Country Historical Society as our charity of choice.
I move that we name the Town and Country Historical Society as our charity of choice if we're allowed to donate money from the actual instructions of the TerraCycling program.
That's a very long motion, but we get it. Is there a second?
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. There is a second. Okay, any discussion?
That eliminates my job.
Yeah, it does. Well, actually, you can take, well, let's keep going for a moment. We got to talk about the motion. No discussion. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 And all those opposed, nay. Okay, so the motion carries. I just want to say two things. One, you do have a right to change your mind. So if you think about this, we can always change it, right? And then two, Sandra, you could take the job to go see if we can actually put this in as our choice. Will you do that?
Oh, look through the
Well,
website.
it won't be on the list. There has to be we're saying
They
there
have-
may be a place
they
that we
will
can
have-
enter it.
They will have reasons why you can do it or who you can do it for. Yes, okay.
You'll check that out and see if we can add we can name our charity as Town and Country
Okay.
Historical Society.
Okay.
Okay, great. Anything else on TerraCycling? Nothing else. Okay. Next thing was 2021 priorities, discussion and initial thoughts. So what I just wanted to do was open the floor just to see if you guys had any initial ideas. We'll just take some notes for now. I just want to kind of get the conversation started a little bit. It's already November, so we need to get moving along. But does anybody have any thoughts for what you might want to do next year?
Well, if possible, it would be nice to continue the Green Thumb Awards. But yeah, I don't know if we can with COVID or not.
And for people viewing this video who number in the thousands, I'm sure, would you mind reviewing what the Green Thumb Award is about?
That's a contest of local homeowners, and they compete for residential beautification of their yards, and there's several different categories, which I forgot.
You're allowed.
And
And we
commercial.
judge,
Pollinator.
yeah, pollinator, resident alone, resident with the help of a landscaper. And I forgot.
That's all right. That's a good description. That's okay. Thank you. That's helpful. What
What
else?
You know, I like Linda's mention of a few minutes ago with just eradicating honeysuckle. A couple weeks ago, I sat in on a really interesting discussion about the invasives of Missouri. And just, I think, pure education, but also just talking about just getting rid of it. But there are also invasives that we're just unaware of that are sold at big box stores, and not that the big box stores are doing anything wrong. It's just education of residents, butterfly bushes, the burning bush, wisteria. These are all becoming invasive. Pear trees, we know that one, but I think just having a nice discussion for individuals, because we all get antsy when spring rolls around and we start planting. And I think if people were a little more aware of what they are planting, it will save a lot of heartache in the next 5 to 10 years when they look at their landscaping and the wisteria takes over. I know that's personal experience that I've had too.
You had wisteria take over? Is that what you
Oh, well, the wisteria intermingled with the honeysuckle, so it's just a mess.
said? Okay, that's an interesting idea. What else?
Last time I thought we have done as a group clean up areas, from trash. Well, I don't know if that will. Can we do that again?
We can certainly talk about it.
Mhm. And we don't have to do it together, right? We can just individually do it. And so, people will see that the conservation is really worried, is really concerned about the planet. So anyway, that's my idea.
Your idea is great. Is there a way that maybe we could tie that in with volunteer hours with one of the high schools?
Sure.
Because so many of the school, so many juniors and seniors, well, I guess high school students need volunteer hours. That sounds like that could be a,
Yeah. So if they could walk the paths or, you know, in the streets and try
That's a
to,
good idea.
yeah, because I walk a lot and ride my bike a lot, and there's tons of trash all over the place.
I don't know how to go about making that a volunteer project, if we have to contact the high schools or if we have to have a written description of what it is and how we award those hours, but that just might be something to consider.
Okay.
And you'd
that's
have to
interesting.
think of safety as far as streets go.
Yeah.
Didn't Lindsay get us those reflective?
Those
Oh,
yellow
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
we got those vests, something like that. And we got something to pick up trash. I thought we had something like that. City of Providence that.
Yeah, we can go figure that out.
Didn't we get those from the one man that was on our committee?
Yeah, I thought we had that one year.
Yes.
Yeah. What's his name? I forgot.
I know, I forgot to. I forgot to.
Well,
Carl? No. No.
No, he's the lawyer.
Yeah.
And remember they were marked with a legal name on them, or
yeah, the Brown and Crouppen t-shirt.
that was it, yeah.
Yeah,
Those were t-shirts, but
I know, but I thought,
Lindsay had gotten big, bright yellow things, I
yeah,
think.
the rest that we could use to pick up trash off of the street.
Oh, okay, I'm
For
confusing the
safety.
two. I thought they were the same thing, okay. Yeah, the yellow things were good. I think we need those if we're gonna be walking around along streets.
What other
So I
ideas
found
do you
an
have?
old note in May of 2018, we had May litter cleanup month,
Right, yeah.
and we got help from the scouts behind Mason
Oh.
Ridge.
Well, I know there's a scout group at Mason Ridge. I would imagine there are others. What other ideas do you have?
We had talked last year, and it's this, until I guess the vaccine comes around, until people feel comfortable, we probably can't do any of the movies or the speaker series that we had talked about before. So maybe in the fall we could do something like that, but I guess short term we can't really do anything, because we had talked about having different movies out there just to, because I bought the movie, what was it called?
Baggett.
Baggett, yeah, I bought the Baggett movie about plastic waste. And we were going to have a movie night
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
at Long Beach,
Mhm.
and to discuss that and give out, because I got bags from Whole Foods, so we have the bags to give out to people, you know, the reusable bags. But until things get back to normal, we can't do any of this stuff.
You can do
Right.
it virtually, but you won't be able to give out the bags. But you can do the movie virtually for Town and Country and invite the members of Town and Country, the other commissions, to see the movie virtually.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have issues with.
How do you see it
copy-
virtually? Do they,
copyright.
you can,
Yeah, because that is the problem, yeah, because it does say that you're not supposed to do that.
Well, then we
I
probably
think
should.
I would rather wait until we could do it at Longview or someplace where we could have a screen out. I mean,
No, we
But
won't
what
be able
about-
to
what
do
Be
that.
about the-
outdoors.
We
Yeah, I
won't
mean,
be able to do that for a while.
we'd have
What
to.
about the idea of a speaker series though virtually? Because, you know, people are, once again, you know, they're quarantined or whatever, they're doing
Yeah.
a lot of things outside. Would it be appropriate to do some kind of speaker series thing?
As long as we could get the speakers for free. That's the key, because we can't pay for anything.
That's right, we have no money.
Yeah.
A lot of groups are doing theirs virtually, and they're getting more people than they normally would get if they were doing it in person.
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's fine.
So one thing that I had on my list to bring up, I have two things. One was to talk about potentially expanding our responsibilities officially within the city. When I look at the list of things under the Conservation Commission, I just kind of go, there's some big things that are kind of not there. and I don't know where they are. So, for instance, conserving our history, conserving our historical buildings, that notion of conservation, the idea of wildlife. I mean, there's not much about wildlife in our responsibilities. So that was one thing that I'd just like to throw out there. I'm not necessarily looking for your support today, but it's just an idea.
Like birds.
Yep.
Mhm.
Birds, fish.
Jeff, I was wondering, probably a year and a half ago, Lindsay had mentioned that Town and Country was redoing their tree ordinance. Did that ever get done, or?
Yes.
Okay, so we did revamp our tree ordinance, and
Yes. So I can send you a link to that code after our meeting.
okay, that would be great.
Let me just make a note. But if you look at that, make the note, I'm sorry. If you look at that and don't think that it is, if you look at that and think that it needs some improvement, that's something we could add to the list as well in terms of things that we could do. I read it, it's very complicated.
Does it deal with tree inventories and things like that? And
yeah, I mean, it's, like so one thing I'm not clear about is whether it deals with, just like you and me going down and trying cutting down a tree in our yard. I can't remember right now, but for like developers and stuff, they have to protect certain trees and they have to replace trees according to a certain count and they have to be a certain caliber and, on and on and on. So it's complicated.
We also had talked about Tree City USA. We were supposed to be in charge of that for Town and Country. I don't know.
yeah, we were going to pursue that, look into that.
Is that an application?
Yes, you have
I
to
think we
fulfill certain-
already have it, but we have to maintain it.
Yeah, you have to maintain it because we already are a tree city.
Oh,
Yeah, that was one of the points that people found interesting is that we're Tree City, but we didn't have any ordinance to protect the trees.
yeah, that was disappointing.
Minor detail. Okay, well, that goes under the responsibilities thing that, might be something we could look at. Or we could just do it individually. That would be true as well. The other one I wanted to mention was, it goes to the wildlife thing, an idea of potentially getting actively involved in fish management in our waters. So we have a pond at Longview. We have, some people call it a pond, some people call it a lake, other people call it a water feature at the crossing. It's a pretty big water feature. But anyway, there are other bodies of water, I'm sure. Well, there are bodies of water in neighborhoods and so forth that we might have to approach neighbors or whatever. But anyway, I was just, if we'd want to get involved in managing fish better to create fishing environments, especially for children, because I know we have the fishing derby sometimes at Town and Country Crossing, but I really have no idea if there's any habitat in there for fish, or I don't know anything about it.
I was at the park yesterday and a group of kids were fishing at Longview.
Do you see any catching or just fishing?
Yes, fishing. I was walking by but there was maybe 10 or 15 little kids and their parents, and they had a table set up with stuff, and so it looked organized. So maybe it was Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts.
Neat, good. Anyway, just another idea. What else?
What's our thoughts on deer?
Good question.
What do you mean? How is that relevant to this notion of priorities for next year? Help me understand that linkage.
Well, currently, Queenie Park is allowing hunters using bows and arrows from 7th of November until the 30th. And as a, you know, as a group, as a conservation group, what is our thought in that? I know we always want to have not to have too many deer because of collision, but what should we think about having hunters with bows and arrows that can, you know, affect the safety of children, dogs. In fact, Tiffany Frauchi saw an injured deer, you know, injured with an arrow. So she took a picture of it, but I haven't seen the picture. So.
Okay, so that's something we could do. We could potentially form a position on city hunting. I'm not, yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that falls under conservation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That will make for an interesting meeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Queenie is not in our jurisdiction, though. Queenie's in Baldwin, isn't it?
It's St. Louis County.
Yeah, it's the
St.
St.
Louis
Louis County
County.
part.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But
going along your lines of discussion, I think even just providing a resource of what to do if a wild animal is caught in your backyard. For instance, last year, a rat snake that was about 5 feet tall got caught in some deer netting I have around my vegetable garden. Oh, I'm not good with reptiles, but anyway, it took almost 4 or 5 different calls. And this happened after 7 o'clock at night, and I didn't want him to die, but it turned out that there is a master conservation department, just like Master Gardener. But it took 3 or 4 calls before I was able to locate an organization that would come out and cut him out of this netting and then take him to the hospital. So I think sometimes maybe if we just provide a simple resource of what to do if there is a dead deer in your backyard, there is somebody at Town and Country that is able to haul that away. What do you do if there is a wild animal caught in your garden that's injured? You would call it was like St. Louis. It's not related to the county or it's a private organization, but maybe sometimes those resources are nice to find because you never know what you're going to find in your backyard here in Town and Country.
The reason I'm smiling is, so I have a hollow mailbox post, if this makes any sense. It's kind of large, it's about this big. But anyway, a woodpecker had pecked a hole in it. Well, then the woodpecker went in the hole and he couldn't get out.
oh,
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 really?
So Jeff got out there with his saw and cut the top of the mailbox out so that he could get out.
You just find crazy things like that. I mean, this organization sent a conservationist out and they cut him out of this netting and he was there for about a day. I mean, they were quick, but no one's open after 7 p.m. when I discovered this. And then they brought him back. Oh, I don't know.
They brought him back. Yeah, you didn't like that part.
Well, his name's Stevie the Snake. That's all I can think.
Well, he eats a lot of
Well,
mice.
he's a good snake.
Yeah, rat snakes are good.
Yep.
They are, but I think, we all have those situations without realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other ideas? This isn't the end of this, right? So let me tell you what I'd like to suggest we do is that we record all these ideas, share them out, and then add to them, and then come back and go through some kind of priority setting exercise. So, you don't feel that you have to get it out there today, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we stop there? We'll use this as a preliminary list just to get, as food for thought to either expand on them or narrow them, whatever, add to them. And what I wanted to ask was, so we struggle to work between meetings because to a certain extent, the sunshine laws inhibit our ability. We can't use email to communicate broadly. We can send things to people, but we have to blind carbon people so that we don't start a conversation outside of the meeting. And you guys know that the reason for that is because the public needs to know what we're talking about, which I totally agree with. One option would be, Google has some things called Google Docs, which I don't know who's ever used those, but we could collaborate using a Google Doc, and that would be a way that all of us could write, and we could publish that address so that the public could read. They would not be able to write it, but they could read what was there. And our city attorney has said that that would be in compliance with the sunshine laws because they'd see everything that we were saying to each other through this document. So my question to you is, you know, some of us are more technologically inclined than others. And if you don't want to do it, it just takes one person to say, you know, I really don't feel comfortable doing that, and we won't talk about it anymore, because everybody needs to be able to gain access to it. What do you think of the idea?
Completely built on Google Drive. So that's how we communicate with clients.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with the platform because it does have privacy space. I do believe though that each individual needs to have a Gmail account.
So thank you for bringing that up. Morgan was going to remind me if I didn't bring it up. So you must have a Gmail account if you want to add to the document.
Don't have a Gmail account.
Yeah.
I'm not Gmail either.
Yeah.
I don't have a Gmail account.
Yeah.
But I suppose you could just set up your another account, email account.
You can set up, we could easily help folks set up an account if they wanted to. They wouldn't even have to use it for any purpose other than to gain access to this sheet. But that would be necessary that folks do that. It's free. Some people don't want to do that kind of stuff though, because they don't like Google, which I totally understand, and so forth.
Well, I learned how to Zoom this year. I can try Google Docs.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. Yeah, I don't mind setting up a Gmail account.
How about others?
This Google Doc thing, is this in replace of Zoom, or we would still have Zoom meetings?
We'd still have Zoom meetings. Yeah. So think of it as, so Sue, have you ever used a product like Excel or Microsoft Word or any of those applications on your computer? Yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
So have you used Excel, a spreadsheet product?
Long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you used it though. That's all that matters. So just think about this. Envision, you know, that you're working on an Excel spreadsheet and typing things in, and at the same time, I'm typing into the same spreadsheet. And you can see my typing, and I can see your typing.
I see. Okay. Okay.
So it's all out in one place, and everybody works in one place. And if you're like, Jeff, I think this is a stupid idea, you can write it in there, and I can see that.
So can you send photos like of garbage cans with labels on them?
Yes, you could.
That's a good
You could
idea.
paste. It's a little more complicated, but you can paste an image into documents and so forth. Yeah.
I mean, to the Alderman's point, think of it as either what you are used to on Apple or what you're used to with Microsoft Office product suites. The only difference is it's out on the cloud, and it's just it's real time versus always having to save, because it saves automatically.
Right.
I see.
And because we'll publish a key to the public, everybody will see what we're writing. So if you want to say, Jeff, this is a really stupid idea, that's fine, but recognize that everybody will see. Well, why don't you think about it? We'll publish the link in our notes, and I'll follow up with you individually and anonymously. If anybody has a concern or objection, we'll just stop, and I will not say who that was or whatever. I'll respect that. I'm a former PricewaterhouseCoopers partner, so I know how to keep secrets. Think about it.
Okay.
We'll include it in notes so that we've got it out there in public, and if we want to use it, we can do it legally. Morgan, are you listening? Did we do everything okay there?
Yes. I just also want to remind the commission that if this would move forward, it would likely be posted on the Conservation Commission tab within our website.
Brilliant. That's a great idea. So we'd know where to find it.
And I'm happy actually to, if anybody's curious, I can share my screen really quick so you can just kind of see what it would look like from a outsider's perspective, Alderman Whitmire did share the link with me, and I can view it as the public would view it if anybody's interested.
Want to take a
Yes.
peek?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then we'll do something else while we're doing that.
Oh, okay.
So it looks just like an Excel spreadsheet. So right here you can see that I don't have access to edit the document currently. But if I did, there would be, you know, a toolbar up here that would look similar to a Microsoft product that would allow you to type and add pictures and all of that good stuff. But this is what the document would look like, basically.
Oh,
So you can see that Alderman Whitmire made a change on his computer, and it shows up in real time right here.
So I won't post any pictures in there, Linda.
Can't you do that even if you don't have, I have a Gmail account and I've done Google Docs, but can't you do it with other platforms also, Morgan?
I
If you
don't
don't,
know of
I
sorry, go
can
ahead.
answer that question because I just tested it earlier. So I went in under a different identification and you can see the sheet, but you can't make any changes to it.
Right,
But I've
right.
done it before when I've had things posted for the greenhouse where I volunteer, and I can never post on it because I don't have Gmail. So,
Perfect example. What's interesting is if you look up at the top, if we were in there at the same time on the right side, you can see that J with a pink circle around it. Is that what color it is for you?
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
me. That's me in there. So if we were all in there, you'd be able to see who was in there at any time.
oh.
And the M on the far right is Morgan.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll,
Final
I'll
say.
say again.
The
So I'll put
Thank
it
you,
out there.
Morgan.
We'll take a look. Morgan, do you think I need a motion to that effect?
I think we can leave it at as a discussion and,
Okay.
and kind of final say at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So commissioner recruiting, well, are we ready to move on?
Sure.
So commissioner recruiting, we do have a couple of open spots on the commission. I can't remember if I brought this up before, forgive me. And I don't know off the top of my head. I think one of them's in a large position. I think one of them's a Ward 3 position. I'm not sure. I guess I just wanted to bring it up and get you all thinking about friends or people that you think we might want to enlist in this process. Can always use more help.
Jeff, did you say Ward 3 and an at-large?
I believe so. Morgan, can you check quickly for us, or are you good at that? Or?
Yeah, I'm going back right now to check. Give me just a second. I can interrupt whenever I find it.
The other thing I was thinking about was, you know, depending upon if we change the scope of our responsibilities or whatever, we might want to let that kind of drive who we might get involved or whatever. I don't know, but that'll be a while before first, we have to decide to do that. And 2, we then have to do it. And 3, we have to get the Board of Aldermen to approve it. So that could be a long time. Probably not worth it. Anything else around commissioners? Well, let's move on then. Oops, go ahead, Morgan.
It looks like we have 1 in Ward 4 and 2 at-large positions currently vacant.
So I was really wrong.
Oh, okay, so we're looking for someone in Ward 4. I'm Ward 4 also. But 1 Ward 4 and 2 at large?
Correct.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. So give that some thought. If you have suggestions, bring them forward and we'll get them to the mayor, because the mayor actually has to appoint folks. Anything else on that topic? Next thing is the chairman's report. That's me. I'm trying to think of anything that's relevant to this body from the work that we've been doing. I would go back. We were joking a little bit out of the blocks about the chickens. It's animals. It's somewhat conservation related, I guess. So the chicken ordinance was approved recently. 2 acres or more requires a conditional use permit. So every one of them who applies will have to be agreed individually. One of the key reasons I voted for that was because there are already chickens in Town and Country that have been grandfathered in, and this provides. Yeah, Marie, don't smile like that. And this provides a vehicle to help make sure that they're well taken care of. Anyway, any questions regarding that ordinance or anything else that's on the docket?
Actually, I didn't realize that had happened. I'll read it, but is that just for chickens or does that include other poultry such as quail?
Just chicken hens.
Okay.
Didn't we do the
no
chicken
roosters.
ordinance? Didn't we, this committee did that chicken ordinance, didn't we? We put out the stipulations. We had, was it a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
Was anyone on the committee back then? Sandra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Linda
Didn't
was,
we?
yeah. When Linda.
Yes.
Yeah, when Lindsay was around.
We had put together a list of stipulations. There were all the requirements. If you were going to have chickens, did the ordinance encompass all those things? And
Yes. Well, I don't have any history. There's a long list of stuff. And there were actually some things added at the very end and so forth. So I was going to send out the link. I think that's in my notes somewhere, to send the link out for the new ordinance to you guys. So actually, no, that was the trees, wasn't it? I'll send the chicken one too.
thank you.
I'll send you the link. And again, once again, you're welcome. If you read it and say there's something missing, let's take that up the hill and see if we can get it put in. But it's pretty extensive.
Yeah, it was pretty comprehensive when.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. There were people in the city of Town and Country who had already have chickens, and they came and talked to us, and it was interesting.
No, well, good. There are a lot of people who do not support this idea whatsoever, violently. So.
Oh, the chickens?
Yes. Yeah, and I understand their concerns. I respect that. So, but.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's very polarizing.
What's the concern? Just curious.
One, just the aesthetic, that, somebody has a chicken coop in their backyard. In Town and Country in general, we do manage downward the number of accessory structures allowed on our properties. So this allows yet another kind of an accessory structure. Two, that so chickens get fed. The feed attracts rodents. The rodents attract predators. So it does provide a food source for predators. And I was corresponding this morning with a neighbor around a coyote. That's the first one that comes to mind. And then the predators go after more than the chickens. So people with small dogs and so forth are concerned. And then the last point that I'm aware of is, so what did I say, location, predators. And then the third thing is just that, the husbandry aspect that this is chickens, it does require a lot of work. You have to maintain the coop or move it or whatever. And that the concern is for the animals themselves, that if they're not well taken care of, that they can suffer. Because you have to take care of them in January and August, not just on those beautiful spring mornings. So
see.
all valid concerns. Anything else from an aldermanic perspective I could help you understand or talk through? So the other one that we had talked about earlier was the tree ordinance. We talked about there during this meeting, didn't we? Yeah, okay, so I'll send out that code.
Do you have one question? This just has to do with a budgetary item. In 21, will branch pickup be an item of discussion for residents, or is that pretty much off the table, just given the initial cost and what we've seen just with everything going on this past year? Because I know that branch pickup is something that a lot of residents value.
Which is me. I value it. So it is not in the current version of the budget. And neither is deer control, deer management.
Really?
You know, so city staff has been working with the mayor on the budget. The aldermen have been briefed on the budget a couple of times. But those things are not in the budget today. So you have a right as a citizen to speak up now, or at the public hearing, or both. So if you have strong feelings about any of those things, or I would encourage you to write to the city clerk, or you can send it to me and I'll send it to the city clerk and tell me that you want to go on the record. But you know, include your name, include your address, and state what you think and why, and encourage people to do what you think is appropriate.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. I recognize, you know, there is severe pressure on our budgets because of the tax erosion that's occurred. We are spending reserve money, so we're living off our bank account to a certain extent to supplement the shortfall. That doesn't mean that, you know, that's a bad idea though to restore that, because we are doing other things. It's just a matter of, you know, how far you push it.
Hmm.
What else? Okay, well, let's stop there then. Any other new business that you all, or old business rather, we need to talk about, or any new business? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And if there's no objection, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Jeff.